Now we're going to be coming from Acts chapter 9. If you could turn there with me. Acts chapter 9. When you get there, tell your neighbor, say, we're going to turn up today. So we're going to turn up today. All right? Now, before we get into that passage, I'm going to give y'all some background. We're going to be talking about Saul of Tarsus. Now, Saul of Tarsus, he was smart. He was educated. He was important. He was also a resourceful scholar and a natural leader. But he hated Christians. Not only did he hate Christians, but he went to the next level when he persecuted Christians. He even was behind the execution of some Christians. It was a Christian martyr named Stephen. And Saul and his men stoned him. And all Stephen was doing was preaching the gospel and defending his faith. And they stoned him. And just before they stoned him, they took off their coats. And they took off their outer garments and laid them at Saul's feet. Because don't you know when you're about to fight? If you're about to fight, you take your earrings off. You put the Vaseline on your face. You might tie your Malaysian hair back, whatever you got, whatever tracks you got, you tie them back because it's about to go down. So that's what they did. They laid their coats and everything at Saul's feet and stoned him. But that's just a little bit of background on Saul. We're going to start at verse 1. It says, meanwhile, Saul was still breathing out murderous threats against the Lord's disciples. He went to the high priest and asked him for letters to the synagogues in Damascus, so that if he found anyone there who belonged to the way, the truth and the life, who followed Jesus, that whether men or women, he might take them as prisoners to Jerusalem. Now Saul had plans. Saul's plans was to start up a persecution campaign in Damascus. And Damascus was big because several trade routes ran through Damascus, so it was a lot of people passing through. So Saul figured if I stop the spread of the gospel in Damascus, then I can really do some damage. So that was his plan. So Saul was going to go to Damascus, and if he found anyone that was following Jesus, he was going to take them back, he was going to lock them up, and take them back to Jerusalem as prisoners. So basically what this is saying is that Saul wasn't playing no games. Saul wasn't playing no games at all. If you would follow Jesus, or, he was going to lock you up, plain and simple. Now, the million-dollar question at hand is this. If Saul was to hit the DMV and come to your school, come to third period, or come to your lunch, or if he was to come to your college campus, or if he was even to come on your job, would he even notice you? Would he even notice? Would you even stand out? Would he even know that you were a Christian? Or would you just be blending in with everybody else, doing what everybody else is doing? That's the question I want to ask y'all today. So, now, look at it this way. Now, if Saul is doing all these terrible things, you might think, okay, if we lock Saul up, Saul would get the death penalty, or he would go to jail for life, for persecuting Christians, executing Christians, all these bad and terrible things. Y'all would probably lock him up for life. But me personally, if I was a judge, like Judge Judy or Judge Mathis, or even Uncle Phil from Fresh Prince, rest in peace, I wouldn't even lock him up. I would give him 20 years. You know why? Because Saul wasn't on the fence about what he believed in. He was going hard for what he was doing. He wasn't playing. So I wouldn't even lock him up. And this is why in Revelation chapter 3, you don't got to turn there, it says this. I know all the things you do, that you are neither hot nor cold. I wish that you were one or the other. First of all, this is Jesus talking to the church in Laodicea. He said, I wish that you were one or the other. But since you are like lukewarm water, neither hot nor cold, I will spit you out of my mouth. Jesus said those kinds of people make me want to throw up. They're stale. They're stagnant. They're not moving. They're motionless. They're not doing nothing for me. How can God do something with you if you're standing still? You lukewarm. You on the fence about it like Mr. Feeney. Y'all know who Mr. Feeney is, Boy Meets World. It's cool. It's cool. Drake said that too. It's cool. It's cool. But let's go back to verse 3 in Acts. Acts 9, verse 3. It said, as he neared Damascus on his journey, suddenly a light from heaven flashed around him. He fell to the ground and heard a voice say to him, Saul, hey Saul, why do you persecute me? Saul said, who are you, Lord? He said, I am Jesus whom you are persecuting, he replied. Now get up, go into the city, and you will be told what you must do. The men traveling with Saul stood there speechless. They heard the sound but did not see anyone. When Saul got up from the ground, he was blind. He could see nothing. So they led him by the hand into Damascus. For 3 days he was blind and did not drink anything. So Saul had a wake-up call. Saul had an unusual wake-up call. Jesus came right on Damascus Road as he was on the way to do these terrible things in Damascus and stopped him dead in his tracks. Now, today we have different kinds of wake-up calls. A wake-up call might be pregnancy. It could be an STD. It could be AIDS. You could get fired from a job. You could get locked up. You can get a DUI. Those are the kinds of wake-up calls we receive today. And you might say, what is a wake-up call? It's an event so dramatic or troubling that it effectively serves as an alert, reminder, or call to action. So when we receive these kind of wake-up calls, it could even be a heart attack. It can be a health-related issue. Somebody could die in your immediate family. All these kinds of things can serve as wake-up calls. But the thing is, when God allows this stuff to happen to you, how do you respond? How do you respond to these calls? Or do you just keep pressing the snooze button on your alarm clock? When you get these alerts, do you keep pressing snooze on God? When God is trying to get you to do something for him, you like, oh, nah, God, I'm going to wait, young. It's this girl I want to smash. After I smash this girl, then I'm gonna serve you, God. Or I'm going to wait till I'm 18. I'm going to wait till I'm 21 to serve you, God. I got to have my fun. Now, in verse 6, it says, now get up and go into the city, and you will be told what you must do. What does that tell me? Jesus is telling Saul that, okay, you encountered me, you had an experience with me, but that's not the end of the story. It's something that you got to do. So as Christians, we all have an assignment. We all have a purpose that we need to fulfill. It even says in Romans 9:17, it says, I have appointed you for the very purpose of displaying my power in you and spread my fame throughout the earth. So this means that this relationship with God is in a cause and effect relationship. A cause and effect could be this. Sally was sick, so Sally went to the doctor. Billy had a big test tomorrow, so he studied all night. And the one I want to focus on is, since Jesus died for me, it's only right that I live for him and fulfill my purpose and live it out. It's only right. He died for me. He bled on that cross. He got beaten, persecuted, all this stuff for me. And it's only right that I live for him. So we're going to jump to verse 15. And what happens between verse 10 and 15 is this. The Lord came to Ananias, and Ananias was in Damascus. He said, the Lord told him to go and to the house of Saul, where Saul was at, and go tell him that, to go to him and restore his sight and lay hands on him, and he was going to be filled with the Holy Spirit. Now, Ananias knew who Saul was. Word had got out in Damascus. Word had got out what Saul was coming to do. So Ananias is like, hold up, God. You must be tripping. You think I'm about to go to Saul, the guy that's supposed to lock people up for even calling on your name? You want me to go to him? But this is what God said, verse 15. But the Lord said to Ananias, go. Don't argue with me. This man is my chosen instrument to proclaim my name to the Gentiles and their kings and to the people. I will show him how much he must suffer for my name. Then Ananias went to the house and entered it. Placing his hands on Saul, he said, hey, bro. He said, brother Saul, the Lord Jesus who appeared to you on the road as you were coming here has sent me so that you may see again and be filled with the Holy Spirit. Immediately, something like scales fell from Saul's eyes, and he could see again. He got up and was baptized, and after taking some food, he regained his strength. Saul spent several days with the disciples in Damascus. At once, he began to preach in the synagogues that Jesus is the Son of God. So what does that tell you? Nobody is exempt from being used by God. Nobody. I don't care. I don't care what you've done. I don't care if you smoked your whole life. I don't care if you were alcoholic. I don't care if you slept with the whole DMV. I don't care if you stripped at Onyx. I don't care if you live in, breathe in stadium every night. It don't even matter. God can still use you. Look what happened. Look what happened. Saul was the one that was supposed to go to Damascus and persecute all the Christians. But Saul is the same person in verse 20 that was living out his purpose and preaching that Jesus is the Son of God. That same person. So it don't matter what you've done. Nobody is exempt. Nobody. It said, so now it's time for us to do this, people. It's time for us to rise and shine. It's time for us to wake up, rise, and let our light shine. I'm going to just go to Matt real quick. Matthew 5:14 through 16. It says, here's another way to put it. You are here to be a light, bringing out the God colors in the world. God is not a secret to be kept. We're going public with this, as public as a city on a hill. If I make you light bearers, you don't think I'm going to hide you under a bucket, do you? I'm putting you on a light stand. Now that I've put you there on a hilltop on a light stand, shine. Shine. Keep open house. Be generous with your lives by opening up to others. You'll prompt people to open up with God, this generous Father in heaven. So it's time for us to let our light shine. Saul was out there. As soon as he had that encounter with Jesus, it was time for him to shine. So he was going out to the synagogues in the same city where he was supposed to do all this stuff. And he was preaching the gospel. He was letting his light shine. And it's time for us to wake up and let our light shine. This personal relationship with God isn't just for you. You don't get saved and that's the end of the story. God got something for you to do. Now, the thing is, don't wait forever either. Don't wait. And I remember I was in school, Christian school, so I used to hear about God a lot. I used to have been in church all my life. I used to say, man, you know what? I'm going to wait till I'm 18, man. Or I'm going to wait till I'm 21 to serve God because I'm like, man, I got to have my fun first or even until I'm 30. You know, then I'll serve God. After I've chilled with all my friends, after we done did all this wild stuff, then I'm going to serve God. But God says, don't wait. In Ecclesiastes 12, it says, don't wait till you're old and gray. Don't wait till life isn't pleasing to you anymore. Serve God while you're young. Honor your Creator. God wants to do so many things with you while you're young, like the girl Jamie Grace who testified. God got her while she was young. Now she's doing big and amazing things. And you can be doing those same big and amazing things too. Start now. Don't wait forever. So let's go back. Verse 20. It says, first of all, we're going to talk about haters. It's the last point. Haters. Verse 20 says, they were caught off guard by this. Now they're all sure they could trust him. They kept saying, isn't this the man who wreaked havoc in Jerusalem among the believers? And didn't he come here to do the same thing, arrest us and drag us off to jail in Jerusalem for sentencing by the high priest? Saul had haters. And you might say, what is a hater? A hater is a person that simply cannot be happy for another person's success. How many of y'all got haters? Anybody got haters at school, on your job, people hating on you? I know you got them. So here's an example. It's Susan and it's Jane. Jane's the hater. Susan says, you know, Kevin from accounting is doing very well. He just bought a house in a very nice part of town. Jane, the hater, says, if he's doing so well, then why does he drive that 89 Taurus, which is a bucket? Why does he drive a bucket? Why is she hating? He just bought a house, and she tries to point out a little flaw. So that's what the people were doing in verse 20 and 21. They were saying, isn't Saul the same person that was supposed to do all these crazy and terrible things to us? You're going to have haters. But it says in verse 22, I'm reading from the Message on this one, but their suspicions didn't slow Saul down for 1 minute. His momentum was up now. And he plowed straight into the opposition, disarming the Damascus Jews and trying to show them that Jesus was the Messiah. What is momentum? Momentum is the strength or force that something has when it is moving. Not when it is stagnant, not when you're dry, not when you're motionless. You got to be moving in the right direction. God can't do nothing with you standing still. Momentum is the strength or force that allows something to continue or to grow stronger and faster as time passes. Now here's an example. My good man, my favorite player, LeBron James. Any LeBron James lovers in here? My man Devin? Okay, Aisha, all right, cool. LeBron James spent his first 7 years in Cleveland. He did his job, did his thing, but he didn't get a ring. That rhyme. Woo. Sorry. But nah, he did all these things, but he didn't get a ring. So he decided to switch teams. LeBron decided to wake up. LeBron said, I'm not going to get no ring in Cleveland. Let me take my talents to South Beach. And so what LeBron did, first of all, he was getting all this hate. People was like, oh, you a traitor. How you going to leave your team? How you going to do all that? But LeBron didn't care. LeBron had a goal in mind. LeBron wanted some hardware. So look, he went to he went to Miami, to South Beach. The first year, he didn't win a ring. People was like, oh, he never going to get a ring. The next year, he went back to the finals and got his first ring. People were still hating. They were saying, oh, yeah, Kobe got 5 rings. Jordan got 6. You know what I'm saying? You're not like them. But LeBron didn't let them haters stop him. He went back the next year and got a 2nd ring. And he about to get a 3rd ring this year. But the point is, he didn't let the haters stop him. People always going to be saying what you can't do. Everybody always going to have something to say. And you even going to have haters in the church. There's going to be people that's going to hate on you in the church. But you can't let that stop you. You got to keep moving in the right direction. Now, I'm going to tell y'all a story, and then we're going to get out of here. Tell y'all a little story. You know what I'm saying? We'll get up out of here. All right. All right. Y'all gonna learn today. All right, so this is me. Last spring, about this time, I was in school. It was supposed to be my last semester. Now, I failed all my classes. Don't even ask me how. I can't even remember. I think I just gave up. Bottom line, I went into the summer. I was off probation at this point, so I could do whatever I wanted. So I started smoking again. Started drinking again. I even tried something new. I started popping mollies. I ain't sweat, though. I promise you, I ain't sweat. But I started popping mollies. Anyway, I was living foul, and I was doing my own thing. I was depressed because I ain't never graduated. All my other friends, graduating like 4 or 5 years. Here it is. I'm about to enter my 7th year in school. My parents saying, this is it. After this, the money stops, everything stops. If you don't do it this semester, that's it. So I'm like, all right. But I still was, turning up every night. That was me. If you saw this bag, some drugs in it or some liquor. There's something in there. There's something was always in this bag. This was my trippy kit. You know what I'm saying? So I went in the first 3 weeks of school. And I was still, doing my own thing, turning up every night, not caring about what I was doing. But then I was like, hold up. A light bulb clicked. I'm like, yeah, I would be insane to go through this semester doing the same old thing and expect a different result. So I was like, all right, young, everything got to stop. So, I cut my social networkings, everyone, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, I cut them all. I changed my number. I was like, I'm getting serious. I stopped turning up all that stuff. I stopped cold turkey. So I went through the semester, started doing better, started, reading my Bible, started getting closer to God, started doing all these good things. Ended up getting all B's. Finally graduated. Thank God. That was something, that was a burden on me. That's something I always wanted to do, not only for me, but for my family. That was something that just burdened me for the longest. I used to be depressed about that same thing, but, I finally graduated, and, this is the thing. After I graduated, I'm like, okay, I think I deserve a reward. I think I deserve to treat myself. So I started back smoking again, drinking again, doing the same old thing. But that only lasted for like 3 weeks. I remember being at a friend's house. We had turned up that night as usual. I don't play no games. I'm either hot or cold. If I'm turning up, that's me. I'm doing it all the time. I remember my friend was at my house one time, and he was like 5 feet away from my car. He could smell the weed all the way back there. I used to live loud, but anyway, I was like young. I was at my friend's house, turned up that night, but I couldn't sleep that night. And it's the song by Fred Hammond, Late in the Midnight Hour. God's going to turn it around. And it don't really make much sense to you till it really happens to you. And so I couldn't sleep. I was like young. I just started thinking. I'm like, hold up. God, you done helped me graduate. You done helped me do all these things. How do I repay you by going back to the same old stuff? Back to the same old stuff. I was supposed to see jail. I wasn't supposed to see no degree. I was supposed to see bars. I was facing 5 to 7 years in prison. I would have still been locked up to this day. I was facing all that. I had 11 charges, 2 felonies, 9 misdemeanors. Even got a DUI in between there. I was headed the wrong direction. So that night I'm thinking about all this stuff. And I'm like, God, I can't do you like that. You died for me. You did all this for me. How dare I not live for you? So from that point on, I woke up. And I said, I'm going to start finally living this thing out. I'm tired of being in between. I'm tired of doing all this in between fake stuff going back and forth. I'm tired of, being gray. Having this gray area in my life. So I'm like, God, I'm going to live for you. It's time. So I started doing that. And things started turning around for me. I ended up getting a job at thank God. And God just started turning my life around slowly but surely. And this is the catch. 2 years back, I applied for, as a cashier. Got the job and everything pending a successful background check. Now, I feel that. I didn't get the job, didn't even happen for me. But when I applied for the bank, you can't have no record going in the bank. What I failed to tell you is God wiped my slate clean. My record got expunged. You can't even look up my charges no more. You can't even see it. God can wipe your slate clean. All you got to do is wake up now and start today. I don't care who you are. God can use you where you're at. If God can do it for me, he can do it for you. If he turned it around for Saul, he can turn it around for you. I don't care if you're an alcoholic. I don't care if you're a homosexual. I don't care who you are. God can turn it around. Now get this. Now, you might not know God. You might not know this Jesus that I know that did all these things for me. But today you can wake up now and get to know him. Now, on the other hand, you might find yourself in between. You might find yourself on the fence. You might come to church on Sundays, but Monday through Saturday, you doing you. This world is crazy. God can't even get a Sunday no more. They got events going on Sunday nights. The Capitol used to be on Sundays. All these different events on Sunday. But if you find yourself in between on the fence about it, and you're going back and forth, then this song is for you. This song is for you. Listen to the words.
Justin. ain't cool too. And no, I'm not a fool. I know eventually I'm gonna have to choose, and I don't wanna lose my ticket into heaven and a chance to be used by you. And if it's God that I'm after, I can't serve two masters. And before something happens, I gotta turn it all around, because I know I can't just have my cake and eat it too. 'Cause it's real easy to stay on the fence and still do you. And it'd be cool if we could love the Lord and still go do our thing. But see, it doesn't work like that. You gotta be white or black. See, I've realized when it comes to sin, you just don't compromise. It's a matter of death and life. Be weak and do wrong, or be strong and do right. And I don't wanna keep going to church singing about how much you're worth, and continue doing my thing, living as if I don't care if you're hurt. And if it's God that I'm after, then I can't serve two masters. And before something happens, I gotta turn it all around, because I know I can't just have my cake and eat it too. Real easy to stay on the fence and still do you. And it'd be cool if we could love the Lord and still go through our thing. But see, it doesn't work like that. You gotta be white or black. We have to get it together. Help us, Father, in this place. Get it together. Help me say, get it together. We need you, we need you, we need you. Get it together. Yes. Say, get it together. We need you, Lord. Say, get it together. Y'all gotta help me say, get it together. Get it together. We need you, Lord. Get it together. I love you, Lord. I'm gonna get it. Get it together. You love me, yes, you love me. Oh, yes. And if it's God that I'm after, then I can't serve two masters. Because if something bad happens, we better turn it all around, because I know I can't just have my cake and eat it too. 'Cause it's real easy to stay on the fence and still do you. And it'd be cool if we could love the Lord and still just do our thing. But